Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Rush Roots. Today we have Steve here. So Steve, why don't you tell us who you are and where you're from?
My name is Steve Bennett, 41 years old, Buffalo, New York, born and raised. I actually live north of the city, which is in North Tonawanda, and about 15 miles, give or take, from St. Catharines, Ontario, of course, which is the birthplace of Near Peart. So not far from there, but
Awesome.
in the United States. Yeah. When I was a kid, it was not unusual on a Tuesday night to cross an international border for Chinese food for dinner.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
You know, pre 9/11 and all that. You would just, you just decide like, oh, let's get the Chinese place in Canada tonight. It's like, yeah, let's do that. And we drive across there. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't you tell us how you heard about Rush? What got you into them and what keeps you around? Tell us about your Rush roots.
Well, my Rush roots are planted in another Canadian three-piece called Triumph.
I was going to guess that.
Yeah,
yes.
And back in 1983, I was 3.5 years old or so, and I fell in love with the song "Magic Power." My dad had the Allied Forces record.
Yep.
And it was the very first song I learned was "Magic Power," and I kind of got the magic power from Magic Power of music. And for the next 7, 8, 9 years, I learned music from my dad. We'd be driving around in the car, oh, this is Led Zeppelin, this is Bob Seger, this is Pink Floyd, this is whomever, this is Rush. And I would enjoy it, love to listen to rock and roll with my dad. It was one of those hockey and rock and rolls, kind of the things that we had in common. And then in 1991, I was 11 years old and I heard Pearl Jam 10. And finally I had my band. It wasn't my dad's thing, it was my thing. I had Pearl Jam. And that got me even more into music. And as I was getting into high school, I bought a CD, portable CD player,
yep.
Like to listen to music on the bus in my day. We had to, make sure we had batteries, get the CD player, headphones. You had to bring the CDs you wanted to listen to. And a CD that we had in the house was Exit Stage Left because the picture on the CD, if you can picture it, there's a crowd there. That's Buffalo. That's the Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo. And there was always this story going around that one of the guys in the crowd there was someone that my aunt had dated. And this guy had passed away from like carbon monoxide poisoning or something strange. And,
gosh.
it was like, oh, he's on that Rush cover. He's immortalized on the Rush cover. Like everyone in Buffalo has Exit Stage Left because Buffalo's on the cover of it, and I had that CD and I knew I liked Rush from those days in the car with my dad. And I would, drive around or go to school listening to Exit Stage Left. And then I was working as a busboy and there was this kitchen. One of the guys in the kitchen was a drummer. And I said, I listen to Exit Stage Left and I kind of want to get into Rush. I was like, do you think I should get the greatest hits or should I go album by album? And he's like, yeah, just get the greatest hits because new Rush is like Roll the Bones. It's new Rush. It's just not good. Roll the Bones. I don't think he mentioned Counterparts. I know Test Record wasn't out yet, but for whatever reason, this guy had a hard on for Roll the Bones. So he's like, just get the greatest hits. So I got Chronicles that day at the store and, by 7 or 8 days after listening to that, I wanted to go album by album. You know what I mean? I didn't care what he said anymore. I loved everything on there so much that the 30 songs or whatever wasn't enough. I wanted to know more. And then I found out how many albums they had.
Yeah.
And, I was like, yeah, okay. So that's basically a Rush roots. I started music young, listening with my dad, learned about bands with my dad. When I kind of got control of the situation, I went to the CDs we had. One of them was Exit Stage Left. And from there, I got Chronicles. And then from there, I started going album to album, even Roll the Bones, which I love very much. I don't know what that guy's problem with Roll the Bones was, but he didn't think it was good, I guess.
Is that guy's name Martin Popoff?
No, Chet.
Okay.
Chet something or other, yeah. Something or other, Chet, yeah.
I tried to make a joke. Martin Popoff's not a fan of Roll the Bones. Anyways,
Yeah.
all right. So why don't you tell us kind of when and where and what tour the first time you saw Rush?
So the first album I bought on the day it came out was Test Reco in '96. It actually came out on September 10th, which I always remember because it was my brother's birthday. And I remember getting home from school and really bugging my mom to go to the Wall at the mall, a CD store called The Wall, which would guarantee the CDs with a blue sticker that you had to put on the CD. And if you broke it, you could return them. And I now always know which CDs I bought at the Wall because they got that dumb blue sticker on the back. But I bought Test for Echo that day in September. And then about a month later, the second show on that tour was in Buffalo. It was October 20th-ish or so. And I remember the night that Andrew Jones hit 2 home runs in Yankee Stadium in game 1 or 2 of the '96 World Series, which were the only 2 games that the Braves won. And then the Yankees won the next 4. But I remember at the show, Buffalo is huge for Yankees. Like everyone here loves the Yankees. They just actually were here a few weeks ago playing the Blue Jays. And I mean, we had 10,000 people packed into our AAA park cheering Yankees 3 nights in a row. And I just remember every time the Braves would get a run, a little bit of air came out of the arena. Like it was a wild thing to be at the show. And then also that going on. And then they came back in the summer. And I've seen the show in more of a shed type venue, Darien Lake. So I saw the first 2 were Darien Lake, and the first 2 were Test Reco. And then I've seen every show since, straight through to R40. So I think I got to 8. Because I think I went to 2. I went to 2 shows on the one. With Time Machine was the one where they played moving pictures, right?
Yep.
And that was a long tour. That's a long one. I think I went to Rochester early, and then the Syracuse State Fair late. So I think I got to 8,
cool.
8 total, something like that.
Cool.
Nice.
So
nice. Yeah. All right. Well, what was your first favorite song and your first favorite album, and how is that different from your favorite song and favorite album today?
Well, my first favorite album was definitely Exit Stage Left because it was the first one I had that I, beat the crap out of listening to.
That's great. That's a great album.
Over and over and over. And there's some great, I guess my first favorite song is probably something on there that's good. I think the Red Barchetta on there, I loved anything he introed. I loved his intros. This is a song about a car, like any of this. And I love the Closer to the Heart on there. Like that's my favorite Closer to the Heart that they did in all the tours or whatever. And so maybe it was Close to the Heart, maybe Red Barchetta, but it was definitely something on that album, cool. Because that Passage to Bangkok, I remember, is really great too. I think
that's a great version.
That's a good one, right? Yeah. So those are and now it's much different because my favorite song is Entre Nous.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that's been my favorite for like 10 years now. Permanent Waves is probably my favorite album. I have like 7 different versions of it. They've just piled up over the years. It put out like a gold one. I had the original one I bought, a remastered one. They just put one out last year, right? I think I got a double disc version of it or something. So I have a lot of copies of that for whatever reason. But I think Permanent Waves, maybe Signals, maybe Hemispheres, one of those 3, but probably Permanent Waves.
Cool.
Nice.
It's a great record.
Awesome.
All right. Well, to wrap up here, why don't you tell us where people can find you on social media? Probably Instagram. Instagram's best.
Well, I am a podcaster, and I have a podcast called The Sportscasters, which I started in 2011. So it's 10 years old this year. And actually, a couple months ago in May, Sports Illustrated wrote a profile on me and the show. If you're interested in that, you can find me on Twitter at @sports_casters. And I have the article pinned if you're interested. And then also you can find me on Instagram, but there's no underscore there. I got Sportscasters on Instagram. Some squatter has it on Twitter that doesn't use it and, whatever. But I think that would be probably the best place there. And I'd love for you to check out the Sportscasters, soundcloud.com/sports_casters. And I host 2 shows on that channel, the Sportscasters and a side project that I do with a guy from New Jersey called Hollywood Dave Rollins, which is called the 24-inch podcast. And it's about the career of Hulk Hogan. So I hope to become a part of the community. It's awesome.
Absolutely,
I love what you guys have done. I didn't think I'd like Rush Roots. I watched one, and then I watched all 22 that night.
Wow.
I just love the story, and I can't wait to see my man Zach. Didn't you say he did one? Because that's like my number one seed in the Rush fans community so far. Yeah.
We had some technical difficulties with his, so we're gonna have to redo his. But yes,
he's my number one seed so far of all the Rush fans.
That's great. That's awesome.
All right, boys.
You gotta love the young Rush fans. That come on.
Yeah, and there was this time. There's this one part where he was Ryan, you were getting upset because you heard a fan or some buzzing or something.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, it's Sax, and he's like, why don't you mute me? Why don't you mute me? And you muted him, and it wasn't him, and he's just like, it wasn't me. No, it wasn't me. He's all happy, so I was marked out for that. But
that's awesome. All right, Steve. Well, hey, thanks for coming on for Rush Roots. If anyone else wants to come on for a Rush Roots, that's binge watching these like Steve was, just feel free to. Best place to get in touch with us is on Instagram at Rush Fans. You'll talk to me, and we'll get you set up for a Rush Route. So with that, we will wrap. Take care, everybody.